This is a generator. Don't know too much about this, but I have had it running in the past. It's got a bit manky now, so I shall get the I thought one of the bolts was there then, but I can't find the bolts. I shall give this a blowout with the airline probably tomorrow. Give it a wipe over and see if it still goes. I think I was always expecting a little bit too much from it, because it is only, like I said, it's quite a low powered one, but it didn't kick out that much power, so I'll see what I do with it when I've cleaned it up. Like I said, it's quite little anyway. I'll tuck in the corner, but it's got a plug on so you can just run it straight onto extension lead, which is good. The other one, like you probably saw, I had to have one of them converter bits on. So we'll see. This is 2-stroke, is it? I thought it was 2-stroke, but I'm not sure. I should know. Let's have a look. No, I always had the feeling this was 2-stroke, but I think I'm thinking of another machine. Yeah, I don't think this is 2-stroke, because it's got sun foil. So when it last had fuel in it, because I think this has probably been in the shed probably 3 or 4 years. Fuel don't smell that bad, but the tank is disgustingly filled with manky water in that. You can probably see that in there. So I'm gonna have to give that a swill and taste. So actually, I think I'll see if I can take the tank off to give it a clean. I think I probably took the back off because it was running a bit bad, but I sort of got it. When I got it, I put fuel in, it sort of worked, so I never really worried too much about doing much to it. But I think it could do with being stripped down and having a carb clean. Actually, I think I'm going to do that now. Get it apart, because I've got a few carbs I want to get done in the ultrasonic, so I might as well give them all a clean together. So if there's anything interesting pop along, I'll show you. I don't know how to get this to get apart because it's quite compact, but it shouldn't be too hard. So I've got the little generator down to its sort of bare bones now. The tank is only held on with that now. All it is basically show you these side panel bits. But sort of on there, it's just a series of screws to undo. Always a handy little tip: keep these sort of things, or old Chinese boxes you get from a Chinese restaurant, or little flora boxes and that. It was handy to keep little bits in. I'm terrible for piling things up and not putting them in, but today I've got all the screws in there. So I'm gonna just disconnect that and get the tank off so I can give that a lovely clean. The thing that was stopping it, there was like a little screw on knob on there that was stopping me actually getting the front off. But that part of it, which I don't know much about the main generator parts of things, before that was all right. So yeah, so I'll get it apart. So I've got the carb off now. I did have to take the recoil off for that as well, and a couple of other little bits. But just a bit of advice. In an ideal world, that should come off, the float. The pin should come out, and the float and the needle valve should come out. The problem I've got is that pin won't move. This carb, I would think you'd really struggle to get one of these. So I've took all the jets and bits and pieces out. I'm not going to put this through the ultrasonic cleaner for that reason, because I don't want to risk breaking anything getting that out. So what I should do, I should bring the float down and I should spray carb cleaner through there to clear anything out. That should be good enough. And also that rubber's in there nicely as well. I would want to take that out if I put that in the ultrasonic cleaner, and it's in there so nice. I don't want it to interfere with that either, because I would think parts are quite hard to get for this. Also, that's sticking on there still, and there's a gasket on there. If I try and get that off, it'll probably tear the gasket. So I think the best bet is to give it a good blowout with the airline, with carb cleaner, and leave it at that, because I could land up having all sorts of problems, and then if I break that, basically the machine is going to be no good then. So that's what I'm going to do. I have noticed, if I can show you, there's one bit there where the other bit is, but the rubber mounts have actually come away from the body. See there? I might have changed that yesterday, but what I've decided I'm going to do might not be the perfect answer for it. Oh, there's the other bit. I'm going to drill through and I'm going to put a little nut and bolt through it. Might cause a little bit of vibration, but I won't be able to get them for this machine, so I don't really see I've got a great deal of choice. So I'm going to try and do that tonight, and I'm going to try and get the carb back onto it. It's not too late to turn the compressor on, so I'm going to turn the compressor on, blow the carb out, give it a better clean I can. I did the fuel tap, that's a lot better now. I might just blast that through once more with the carb cleaner and give it a bit of a blow through, so that can go back together. And then and get the carb on as well, so that's all clean. And then hopefully, is there a gasket on there still? Don't think so. And then if I fix them, clean the tank out, it should be done. But it's going to take a little while to do these, so I'll show you it when I've done one. The carb's just a straightforward carb as normal. Hundreds of videos of everything, probably thousands on YouTube of carbs being cleaned, so I'm not going to bore you with that. And you needn't see, I think in that shed where I've had it, it's had water leaked on the top of it, because look how rusty the spark plug is, and it's rusty on the top of that plate as well, so it has had water sort of on it, and this tap was absolutely full of water, full of rusty manky water, so it would never run now. Well, I fully cleaned them out best I can. Carb cleaned them all through, and everything's nice and good now. All their little jets are free. You can see it, probably see through the little holes. You're not focusing very well. Let's see. I'll just try to show you what to look out for. Where are we? There you go. You can see that one there. See there, and then usually, I think, like I said before in another video, it's not much chance the main one would block because it's bigger. But see, if you just check the little bits like that, you'll know they're all free. The carb's all back on now. I found where the gasket was. It was actually stuck to like a little bracket there. I forgot about that. So that's all back on now. Cleaned everything out. The fuel pump bit, not fuel pump, fuel sort of tap, whatever you call it. It's like it's like a throttle bit. I think yeah, it's like a stop start sort of thing. I'm not quite sure whether that should be bent like that. I think it should be. I'm not sure. I'll look into that when I get it back together. But the actual engine side of things is done, apart from a new spark plug. I'm half tempted now just to, if that undoes, to get that in now. So that's done. I've got one in the drawer, I think. And then I'll take the engine bit away, put it on the floor, and then I'll see what I can do with these little mounts, and see if I can sort that out. At least, just realised I forgot a spring on that screw there. So I wondered why I wasn't adjusting in right. So yeah, I'll just get them little bits and pieces done, and see where we move on to with these mounts, and just hopefully if I can sort them. The thing is, I've got to do the whole four. They've all come away, the whole four have. I've got on a little bit further now. I've actually done the mounts, 2 of them. That's how I've done it. I've just drilled through and nut and bolt, put a nut and bolt through, and it's a nylock nut, so it won't really vibrate loose. And actually there's a bit of spring in there. I think that's going to do the job. At least it's better than them flopping about everywhere. So that's 2 done, still 2 to go. A bit of a tedious job drilling through the rubber and that, but we are getting there. These I think have to go on first, and then I'll have to bolt it on afterwards. So it'll be a little bit fiddly, but it should just sit on them and I should be able to locate them reasonably. They just go on one there, and then I've got 2 others to do. They're over the back there. So I'll see what the time is, see whether I do them tonight. I might just try and do them tonight, because like I said, it's a tedious job and it'll be out the way then, so it means it's just refitting really. But I'm going to give this a clean in here because it's all light isn't great there, but it's all a little bit oily and horrible, so I'll give it a good clean. But I did get a bit further on last night. I fixed all the rubber mounts, so I've put nuts and bolts. Let's see if I can sort of show you. There you can see it just through there. So they're actually all on there, and it looks pretty. It looks like it's going to be quite a good success. There's a bit of sort of bounce on them, and I didn't realise, because it just sort of, as I took it apart, it all lifted off the top together. But you just bolt it in under there, through there. There's 4 of them. So there is 1 foot missing, but that's not a problem. I can sort of something out for that. But what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take it outside, give it a bit of a brush down with some degreaser and hose it off. That's going to be a bit wet. I'll try and sponge it, sort of squeeze it dry with a bit of rag or something, and then I'm going to see if I can get the wiring back onto it, if I can remember where it goes. I think I remember. Then I'll get it back together. It's just going to be the tank to clean out then, but at the moment I'm just going to concentrate on this. I'll get it cleaned up and then I can bolt it back on, so at least I'm on the home straight with this one. I've got it all back together now, the generator. And I have actually fired it up. I was going to do that live, but the phone kept messing around, so I couldn't do that. So I got impatient and I started it up. It did run a little bit rough for a start, but I adjusted the carb a little bit and it's a lot better now. The only thing I'm aware of doesn't work is I think that light there, or that light there, one of them, because the wires broke behind. I'll look at that afterwards. They've got to have a clean up, and the back isn't on it yet either. So I have tried it and I'll show you it working now. Give it a little bit of choke on. As you can see, it's running well, and not the big light, but that light there, powering that light. So if I turn the other one off, you'll be able to see it. So it does work. I'll unplug it. Bit of darkness. There you go. Back on again. So as you can hear, it's running well. So you saw it all up and running, and it all worked okay. So yeah, I'll give it a bit of a clean up. All I did was clean it up with a rag and WD-40, and it cleaned it up all quite nicely on the end and that there. Put the back on now. The back's all on. I actually had put the screws to hold the back on in the back panel. I can't believe when I did it I was that organised, so they didn't get lost, but that's good. So yeah, just 2 little things to do to it. They're not really important to do with the running of it. One's the oil lamp light alert, and you've got a dipstick there, so it doesn't really matter. Every lawnmower or whatever, you check the oil. You don't always have an oil light warning on these little engines, so I'm not too bothered about that. I might fix it at one stage, but I might even be broken beyond fixing, because the wire's sort of been pulled out. I'd have to sort of look at that, but to be honest, I haven't really got the time at the moment. I need to get on with other things, and one of the feet are missing the rubber. It is the other front one there, so I might take one off the back to put on the front, and then put a matching pair of something on the back or something, but it just makes it a little bit uneven. But yeah, there wasn't really too much to do to it. It was the carb clean, the mounts, which were easy, but it was just a bit time consuming. Cleaned the tank out. It's still not brilliant in there, but I don't know how well you can see in there. I don't think I've got a torch on me, but the tank's a little rusty, but it isn't too bad. You can see my WD-40 come down on the edge now, but I'll give that a wipe up in a second. Yeah, so that's about it really. They're not the most powerful generator, but you see it run the light bulb okay. Actually, I had a low energy light bulb in my light, and it actually blew that. It was a smaller wattage one. I don't know where I got it. I think it was in the house, but I put a bigger one in now, and that was all right. But I don't know why that was. Probably too much power for the light bulb, because there weren't, when these come out, I don't think there was low energy light bulbs in, so just run the old sort of glass type light bulbs. So anyway, quite happy with that. What I do with it is another thing altogether. I haven't got a clue. Yeah, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do with it, whether I sell it, whether I keep it. I've got the big generator now, I've got this generator, and I've got a brand new Briggs & Stratton one with like the Briggs & Stratton classic engine on. So I don't really need three, but this one's nice and quiet, so, but I can't ever think of a situation where I'm going to be using it to just run something like a light bulb low powered, so I don't know whether it's really worth keeping, but whatever now. If I do tuck it somewhere, it'll be kept in the dry. It's been in that leaky old shed, and that's what I think's made it worse. But it never was brilliant when I got it. It's always sort of misfired a bit. It could actually do with a good run, leaving on about half an hour really to an hour. I will probably do that at some point. So just give it a real good clear out, because I did notice when I changed the spark plug, the valves and that are a little bit oily and that in there. Yeah, this actually, I got this with a load of other stuff once. It owes me pennies. It doesn't owe me anything hardly at all. All I've spent on it is a couple of bolts that were in that pack, which the whole pack was probably something like £2 or something. It wouldn't have been much. And a new spark plug, which is about £1. So that's all it's cost me to fix this, and a bit of carb spray and a bit of WD-40 to clean it down. So yep, that's not a bad generator for probably a couple of quid. So but you know, I've got loads of things like that, but they always need to have repair, and it is your time, isn't it? So you know, it's just a bit of a hobby just to keep things running. It gives me more of a buzz keeping something like this running than it does going to buy something new really, because these, I don't know how, I'm not really sure how old they are, but if you look at that sort of label there, it looks quite old label and that. I don't know whether the place exists. Actually, it says that's in Boston there. But yeah, if you look at the phone number, it's not Boston, America. It's Boston, UK. The numbers are just 51555. So yeah, it's an old label all them years ago, and I would imagine you are going to be going back. You're going to be going back to the early mid 80s, I reckon. So it's going well. Anyway, enough talk about that, and we'll leave this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll be along with another video again soon.